Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Dylan Bender, Sports Information Director at Manchester University, host institution for the Division III Final Four. I'm joined here by Coach John Baines and members of the Elmhurst University Blue Jays. And Coach, I know it's a disappointing feeling right now, but just given your season as a whole, how proud are you of this group of young men, and what mark are these guys going to leave on this program?
Well, flat out, they're the best team that's ever put a uniform on at the school history. So, I mean, that's something to say for 100 plus years. And so, proud's not the word. I am proud, but they got an unbelievable experience. Talk about what a month. I said, you know, when guys get at the end like this, and I think right now they're not thinking this, but I think the guys in 1 month they'll be like, man, that was a heck of a ride. That CCIW tournament and those games and coming back, and I know it's cliche to say, but you know, I told them the journey isn't the end of the road. The journey is the road, and that was a great run for us.
And Jake, I know there's a lot to process, but for somebody that's has had an unbelievable career, what has the experience been like for you leading this team to this point?
Unreal. Just even like, because this is my 6th year, and I've played for them, so I was even able to spend all that time, those extra 2 years, which I'll never forget. And I have friends literally for life. And right now it's definitely tough, but I'm really, really proud of like how far we've come this year.
And Lavon, I know we've talked earlier this week about kind of your ups and downs and your improvement, but building off what Jake said, how's the experience been to kind of weather all those ups and downs, but perform at just a very high level here in Fort Wayne?
It's been an unbelievable experience, like Jake said. I'd rather not do it with anybody else. These are all my brothers. I love everybody. Battle with us every day. This month, last month, all year. I love them.
And Dom, to get you in on this, you've improved greatly as a player. I mean, I remember when you guys came to Manchester back earlier in the season, you had a really, really big game off the bench, and since that game, you've played outstanding the remainder of the year. Just how proud are you of not only this group, but your own improvement as a player in this program?
Yeah, it's really been a dream come true. You know, this group is really special. I have countless memories that are going to last forever, and I wouldn't trade it for the world. You know, these guys are my brothers. I love them to death, and you know, it's really been special. It's been a great month, and I'm just sad it's over now.
We'll open the floor for questions. Yep, Ryan?
John, I was thinking back today, you may not even remember, but we had a phone conversation more than a year ago where we talked about not getting to finish 2020, and you talked about not knowing whether you'd have the opportunity again. It obviously didn't end the way you wanted, but what does it mean to be able to finish out and go the distance, or as far as you could get?
Yeah, that's a good question, because you don't think about it that way, but you know, there was no closure back then. You know, you kind of said, what could we have done? You know, we were hot, we were playing well, and to get back to this spot and get hot again, and for me, that just, I'm glad these guys got that. For them, I mean, for me too, it was fun, but for them, yeah.
Right in front.
John, they've been winning games in the tournament convincingly. Macon has. You guys were right there with them in that opening 10 minutes. What did you like in the way you started, and then what maybe got sideways for you?
Yeah, they're a really good team. I mean, they're good. They're physical and they're big, well coached, and you know it hurt us a little bit, you know, with the zone. You know, just it's hard. You know, we've seen one zone this year, and that was Pomona-Pitzer. So you play 25 games, and then you get to the tournament, and then their zone's a little unique, and then you have a morning to prepare for it. And so, and it didn't help. We didn't make much, you know. So I thought we had some good looks at it, and then I think it kind of hurt our defense, especially that last 3 minutes of the half. I think we were kind of playing with, you know, I think we were right there, and then we couldn't knock down that big shot or two that we needed, and then I think it hurt our transition, and they made a couple threes, and it turned into 15 when it could have been an 8 or 9, I think, going in. And but you know, they're good. And that's flat out. That's what it is. I don't think we played our best, but a lot of credit goes to them for making us do that.
Bob?
John, can you talk a little more about their zone? It seems like, in a regular zone, it leads to a lot of wide open shots. It seems like in their zone, they make it really difficult on you within that. Talk a little bit about what they're doing on the defensive end.
You put a shot blocker at the rim, and then you put a bunch of guys that are 6'2" to 6'4" that are strong and pretty athletic, and then you have them flying around everywhere. And they're smart, too, Buzz is really, he kind of gets his hands on stuff, and it's just a really smart, aggressive, physical zone, and that's not the the junior high zone that you're taught. And it gave us some issues. We had a game plan, and but at some point it's still basketball. You got to knock down a shot. You got to finish some plays at the rim, and we didn't do it. It wasn't because of lack of effort. We didn't do it.
Jake, can you talk a little bit about what the game plan was coming in throughout the tournament? You guys have had really unique, effective game plans. What were you trying to do to them? And it did seem to work pretty well early on.
Yeah, so just like the last few games, we've been playing usually a few good players, and really like we've been doing, trying to take their guy out. And then really on the offensive end, just kind of, because they're extended, those three guys on the top, they're super extended, so the middle's pretty open. So we were trying to get the ball in the middle and then maybe flash a guy to the block, and sometimes like overload the side and stuff like that. So.
Any more questions for Coach or the student? Yep.
For any of the players, when I was asking Coach about it, it did seem like you guys started well, and maybe right before the half things kind of got away. Did it feel like you were right there until that point? And was there a point in the second half where you thought you might be able to get back into it, or did it just feel kind of like a drum in the second half?
Honestly, I feel like we could have came back at any point if we could have got that lid off the rim. I feel like we really didn't make a lot of shots. We shot 28% in the first half. Probably didn't shoot that well in the second half either. So I feel like maybe if we would have knocked down a couple more shots, we could have got our momentum.
Was there any fatigue with the quick turnaround and how hard you guys had to play last night?
For me, it wasn't. I was just adrenaline, playing in the national championship on live television. I really wasn't worrying about my body, just leaving it all out there.
2.5-minute media breaks. You can catch your breath.
Kevin?
For any of the guys, talk about just what it means to be sitting here. I know it's not quite the outcome that you wanted here in the last game, but to be sitting here in the national championship game and all you guys coming back for extra years and putting it together, what does that feel like overall? And talk about the camaraderie you guys share, because this feels like it's probably one of the tightest Elmhurst teams, and John, you can weigh in on that too, maybe one of the tightest Elmhurst teams I think I've seen in my time here.
I mean, absolutely worth it. I've had plenty of problems, like knee issues, which may have made me not, and I thought about it, but man, I can't imagine if I hadn't. I wouldn't have traded this run we just had and sharing it all together for the world. So.
Yeah, like Jake said, it's been a long time coming. We've all grown together, and I wouldn't trade anything or replace anybody.
I look at it. I look at it from a different lens because that crowd out there, that was a pretty good crowd for Elmhurst, and there were a lot of alums today. And we left the hotel, and we were getting on the bus, and there's Kyle Weiss and Brian Ackerman and Will Nixon, and there's guys from before that. Pat Simon's a guy I played against, and he drove over here, and you see that kind of following and that connection. These guys are going to transition into that, and if we can be good again, they'll be the guys that are up there in the stands. And for me, that's pretty special.
Any other questions? All right, thank you, gentlemen.